You didn't say anything wrong. You were just honest, just tired, just sharing a small truth with someone who smiled and listened. And that's what made it dangerous. It's because the most damaging mistakes in life don't come from lies. They come from telling the truth to the wrong person. One sentence, one moment of relief, and suddenly your words are no longer yours. They travel, they change shape. They come back louder, sharper, and aimed straight at you. By the time you realize what happened, it's too late to take them back. That's when it finally clicks. Not everyone who listens is safe. And not everything that hurts needs to be shared. It usually starts small. A comment after a long day. A quiet complaint you don't think matters. You tell yourself you're not gossiping, just being real. Just letting something out so it doesn't stay stuck inside you. The person across from you nods. They listen, they seem understanding. Asks when your guard drops. Because being heard feels like safety. But what you don't see in that moment is how easily words change once they leave you. They don't stay wrapped in your intention. They get filtered through someone else's fears, insecurities, and need to feel important. And without meaning to, you've handed them something powerful. Not a secret, a story. One they can repeat, reshape, and pass on. And while you move on, thinking nothing of it, your words begin moving too. Quietly, without you. You don't notice it right away. Nothing explodes. No one confronts you. The shift is subtle. Conversations grow shorter. People start acting different around you. You feel it in the pauses, in the looks that linger a second too long. And slowly, a question forms in your mind. Did I say something wrong? You replayed the moment, searching for a mistake. But the words you remember aren't the words being repeated. Somewhere along the way, your honesty picked up a tone you never gave it. Your tiredness turned into negativity. Your frustration turned into intention. And by the time the story reaches you again, it doesn't sound like you at all. That's the moment fear sets in, because you realize you no longer control the narrative. Your words do, and they're speaking without you. That's when the damage becomes real. Not because anyone says it to your face, but because decisions start getting made without you in the room. Opportunities disappear. Trust shifts. You sense something has changed, but no one explains what or why. And the hardest part isn't the consequence itself, it's the helplessness. You want to clarify, to correct the story, to explain what you actually meant. But how do you defend yourself against words you never said out loud? The truth is still inside you. But the version of it that escaped is already out there. It's moving faster than you can catch it. That's when you understand the real cost of oversharing. It's not embarrassment. It's losing control over how you're seen. And once that happens, silence feels heavier than any words you could offer. That's when the realization hits. Not everyone who listens deserves access to your truth. Some people don't hear to understand. They hear to store, to repeat, to feel important later. And suddenly it becomes clear that silence was never weakness. It was protection. You didn't lose because you spoke. You lost because you assumed honesty would be handled with care. From that moment on, the way you see sharing changes. You don't stop being open. You become selective. You learn that trust isn't about who feels friendly in the moment. It's about who can hold your words without reshaping them. And once you understand that, you stop giving your inner struggles to people who haven't earned the responsibility. You don't harden. You get wiser. And that shift alone changes everything. That's when the realization hits. Not everyone who listens deserves access to your truth. Some people don't hear to understand. They hear to store, to repeat, to feel important later. And suddenly it becomes clear that silence was never weakness. It was protection. You didn't lose because you spoke. You lost because you assumed honesty would be handled with care. From that moment on, the way you see sharing changes. You don't stop being open. You become selective. You learn that trust isn't about who feels friendly in the moment. It's about who can hold your words without reshaping them. And once you understand that, you stop giving your inner struggles to people who haven't earned the responsibility. You don't harden. You get wiser. And that shift alone changes everything. Nothing dramatic changes overnight. People don't suddenly become more careful. The world doesn't grow kinder. What changes is you. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop handing out pieces of your inner life just to feel understood. You learn that some conversations belong inside. Not because you're afraid, but because they're valuable. And with that choice, your words regain weight. Your silence gains meaning. You still connect. You still trust, just not blindly. You understand now that not everyone who asks deserves access, and not every truth needs to be spoken to be honored. When you stop sharing everything, you don't become distant. You become grounded. That's when your life feels quieter, steadier, and more protected. And that's when it finally clicked.